Hi there, I'm Alan Thomas, Business Development. This is Lars Davies, founder and CEO of Kalypton, and we're here to talk to you about Tereon, our middleware solution for banks and other payment service providers. The basic notion of Tereon is that we don't try and do what you already do really well, so we want to leverage your existing investments in core systems, perimeter controls, etc. But we feel that there's room for a solution which allows you to unleash a constant stream of payment innovation using secure bank account to bank account movements, and that therefore you need a technology which will allow you to implement any business logic on any business device across all of your channels. Tereon was actually built, or the core of Tereon was actually built about 5 years ago and has been implemented in some challenging conditions in Africa over that time. We acquired it just under 3 years ago, and we've really been focusing internally on building it out and on a little bit of business development, as you'll see in a demo in the Caribbean region. So this is really our first opportunity to present this to such a large and knowledgeable and widely based audience, and we really are grateful for that opportunity. In the demo that we're going to launch, I will be playing the role of a harassed parent. I've actually been rehearsing for that for 20 years. And my son will be based in Trinidad on a seemingly internal gap year and spending money like a drunken sailor on shore leave, which means at least you'll get to see lots of transactions. Okay, so we will be using 4 devices. We'll be using a card terminal, which has got both EMV and Tereon installed upon it. And my son will be paying for things with a card. And then we've got 2 Samsung Notes, one of which will be my device as a user, and another one a UK-based merchant. And if we have time, we'll get through 6 transactions. So the first one, my son is paying by card, 300 Trinidad dollars, which sounds a lot. It's only just over 30 quid. And what you see is that both the merchant and I are putting a PIN in, which is somewhat unusual because this is just a standard magstripe card. And the PIN on every transaction is checked against the value stored on the back end. So that's a fairly standard, straightforward transaction. Now let's see whether my son can do a larger transaction with another merchant. This time I think we said 5,100 Trinidad dollars. Same process, both the merchant and the user put in a PIN. But this time, we will see that the transaction fails. And then when we look at the balance, we'll see that my son has adequate funds. Why is the transaction failing? Because when he set up his account, with my guidance, we put in limits, both individual transaction limits, day limits, and month limits. Okay. So the third transaction, now my son needs some money. Is it at all possible, Lars, that I can transfer from the UK using my phone money to my son's account?
Absolutely. What you do is, because you've got a unique ID on the card, you simply go into the transfer fund function. You type in the card number. It can be any card number. It can be a mobile phone number if you've got a mobile phone. It can even be an email address. As long as it is unique, we can use it. It goes through that. Our directory server will actually check the identity of the person. And then once you've done that, you type in the money. In this case, because we're typing in from a UK account, we're transferring £100 over to him, but it'll be transfer or change in real time into Trinidad dollars, less, of course, the charges.
So
the balance will check again. You'll actually see the money's actually gone through. And the reason for this is because both sides are authenticated in real time. You have full authentication of the transaction and of the individuals and the banks, and therefore you can actually set up an irrevocable promise to pay in the settlement mechanism, and the settlement will take place a few hours later. You'll also find out the reason why the original transaction failed was because he actually breached his daily transaction limit. What we can do instead, again just checking the balance, show it to you, there's plenty of money in this account, but he can't pay. For some reason, he's gone over the transaction limit that we set. We set that to control his spending. We can actually pay his bill from the UK using, again, the card number, where instead what he does is he simply types in the actual card number itself. We'll get ready because he's on the phone to us. We've got direct connection because we currently talk to perimeter security. Yes, we do want to pay them. The terminal will come up with the amount. Now, this terminal is happily coexisting with EMV as another application, but we're using the Tereon model here to actually make the payment through. You'll see it come through in a minute, and it's £503, which is a substantial sum for a young man. Transaction has now been paid. If you actually go into the mini statement, you'll see exactly what's been paid, £503.37, and again the transfer prior to that. That's all the information that anyone will see. There's no need to hand over PINs, no need to hand over CVVs, CVNs, or any other information. So all you have is unique ID, which follows each payer and each merchant as they go.
So in this demo, we've tried to focus on the card terminal because we think that's something different to show the innovation. I hope that we can show you, if you come to our stand, that we can do payments from phone to phone and also e-commerce payments using effectively the same security model and the same business processes.
Again, what we can also do is do a cash withdrawal. So if I'm in Trinidad trying to get my son out of there now, I want to make a withdrawal. I go to a merchant who services Tereon. I can ask for a cash withdrawal. Again, I enter my mobile phone number. Comes through. How much do I want to withdraw? I think around £100. I'm not sure what that's going to be in dollars, but let's see what it is. Well, just over $1,000. The merchant actually wants to give me £1,000 round. If he'd entered more than the amount I'd actually asked for, I'd have to enter my PIN again to check it. The amount's been withdrawn. I've got $1,000 in my hand, but if I go to the mini statement, what I'll actually see is I didn't pay £100. I actually paid the exact value of that $1,000.
So we hope to be showing you more in the 7 minutes. Please come and see our booth and see what else we have to show you. Payment instruction processing, multiple devices, multiple pieces of logic, multiple currencies, real and virtual, and security and regulatory compliance with every service.
Thank you.
Thank you.